What's up? What's up? What's up? We're back. This is the Art Block, and I have Jasmine Woods with me today once again. Everybody's favorite, crowd favorite, Jasmine Woods. Hey, everybody, applause! I need an applause effect for that. Have you seen? We're jumping right into it. Did you ever watch or look at Dilbert growing up, like the comics or the cartoon, like the little funny guy with the
I vaguely
glasses?
remember him. Yeah, I vaguely remember Dilbert.
So apparently, not even apparently, the creator Scott Adams died today.
Oh,
Yeah. And I was
really?
sad. At first, I was sad, but then come to find out, this motherfucker was like MAGA. He was ultra conservative. He was just like a really terrible human being. So I was reading up on it because I was about to repost it because I saw somebody do it on Threads. I was like, oh man, I like Dilbert. And then everybody was like, oh, good riddance. I was like, oh like what? You know? Apparently he had some form of prostate cancer and he was
Mm,
diagnosed in May 2025. So he already knew that he was about
mhm.
to be dipped
On
up
his
out of
way
here.
out.
Yeah. And he spread misinformation about like, medical stuff. I'm assuming COVID. I don't know all the details. I just found out about all of this before we got on.
That's so that's so wild to me, like the irony there, especially like on your last in your last days. That's what you wanna go out with. Like, that's crazy.
I don't even know if it was his last days. I think he might have been like this forever, you
It's
know.
possible.
And I think it sucks when I just feel like I imagine being an artist and also being racist, homophobic, and just completely the opposite of what an artist should be, you know?
Mhm.
And I
I
feel like,
mean,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that's it's kind of crazy because there are a lot of artists that are like that. Like
Who? Call them
there
out. Let's
are
list them right now. Let's go jumping. Let's go. I'm getting ready. Let's go.
I mean, like we had that whole thing about Dr. Seuss where
Dr.
like it,
Seuss?
his early works had a lot of like racist imagery
Is that why
and
the Grinch is
like
black now?
I'm screaming.
Is that why
No.
Nick Brennan is Grinch?
Right.
She made me. Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. No, yeah, like that was a big one for a lot of people found out that like in his earlier years as a cartoonist or artist, he was making a lot of like racialized pieces, bodies of work. And yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like, man, you did a full
we
180
talking we
here.
talking Cat in the Hat Dr. Seuss. We
Yes,
talking
Cat in
about
the Hat, his
green eggs
earlier
and ham
years.
Dr. Seuss. We talking
Yes.
the Grinch that stole Christmas Dr. Seuss.
Yes, yes, you gotta look it up. You gotta pull up his old stuff before he became children's author, you know,
That's
clean,
awful.
pristine, all these all of these made up
Well,
characters, you know.
here's what I say, and I tell this to people all the time. If someone, depending on the transgressions, if someone comes back out and they're like, "Hey, I was a shitty human being. I'm doing better. I'm donating
Mhm.
money. I'm doing this. I'm volunteering." Da 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 da. I think that's fine. I don't know if he did that, but I feel like if he did, I'm cool with it. But if they never, that's crazy. I gotta look this
I
up.
mean, I can't remember if he was remorseful about it later or not, but I definitely remember seeing articles about his earlier works before he
White
became a
people,
children's
man.
author.
This is why I can't trust
And I was
white
like,
artists.
huh.
Can't like nobody's always something racist. Like
Yeah.
what's his name? What's the dude? Lovecraft. He had a cat named, and I can't say the word because I might have to bleep it. He had a cat named Nigger Man.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah. And then all of his, if you're familiar with his work, like his work is about
mhm,
like cosmic horrors, these creatures that are beyond normal human understanding. And a lot of them are like really monstrous and ugly, and they're not necessarily evil, but they're horrifying. And some of those were actually him referencing black people. Like the Gorath character, it was the full name was like,
that's so
so when
unnecessary.
Lovecraft country reappropriated it, they kind of like flipped it on its head a little bit.
Mhm.
But it's still weird to
Mm.
me that like you can be someone who, I guess, I mean, it's like when you think about superheroes, like there's always the people with powers are either going to be good or bad or somewhere in between. So I guess with art in the real world, it's going to be the
Yeah.
same thing. It just sucks because Dilbert was like a pretty cool comic and a pretty
Yeah.
decent show. It wasn't like groundbreaking or nothing, but it was pretty solid if you read the newspaper a lot.
Yeah, and I mean at that time it was kind of talking about what we still talk about, which was like a little bit of like the rat race, wealth inequality, like those sorts of things. So it is kind of odd that the lens does switch like that.
Yeah, I'm just in
I'm like,
shock because I
yeah,
literally was about to have this whole emotional like moment, like, oh man, that white boy that done made that comic dead, and everybody was like, aha! They was pointing and laughing like Nelson, aha! They was
that's
like,
crazy.
that's what evil does. That's what happens. Your demise comes sooner. I was like, damn, bro. And I'm trying to think, like, where did he think things were gonna go, given his demeanor? Like, I feel like when you do stuff like that, you're not gonna make too much money unless you're funded by like the MAGA
Hmm.
regime, because they do pay their people well.
Hmm.
Which is something
I
that
just
like somebody brought up recently. They were like, "Oh, we on our side, quote unquote, we always expect people to do stuff for free, and then we don't
yeah,
really get anywhere. We don't organize properly. We don't have any propaganda. We don't have any kind of like mouthpiece spokesperson. But on the other side, they got Candace Owens. They got that one dude with the big forehead, the black dude. I can't remember his name, but I've seen him a lot. He'll come up in the videos with Candace Owens sometimes. They got a lot of people that be on their
yeah,
side, and they pay them handsomely. And it's like,
yeah.
why we got to do free stuff? Pay me, I'll do it.
I legit just saw a black lady on it was on Reels, but I'm sure she posted it on TikTok first, where she was like, "Yeah, I've been working and campaigning in MAGA because they're paying me so good." But the whole time she's like also swaying people. She's like, "Yeah, I go to the events and I tell them about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vote for Trump. It's just too bad that he's gonna cut Medicare, but it doesn't really matter to me because like I'm healthy." And she's like talking to like older people about those sorts of things, and then watching them get upset and like switch their voting presence. I was like,
These people are
interesting.
delusional. How would you think that you're going to be safe from any kind of benefits that are taken away? Because regardless of whether you're healthy or not, you're still going to need medical care at some
No,
point.
she knows that. She was saying that she was doing that in order to like bring up the conversation, not necessarily that she believes those things. Because she
Oh,
was going in, she basically infiltrated MAGA as a
oh,
campaigner
okay,
and took
okay,
their money.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, 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 okay. She did a switcheroo. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
I gotta see
misheard you.
that video. It was
Send that to
crazy.
me, yeah, because that sounds funny. Now I would do that too for fun. I would definitely do that for fun. I think I've seen other people do that like for just content. I think I've seen some
Yeah.
white dudes do that. They'll go to the marches and shit, and
Hmm.
then they'll be asking a bunch of questions and then start like flipping it on them in the moment, and then the people get flustered and they're like, ah, get the fuck out of here, and they start getting violent and shit. It's pretty funny,
Yeah.
but also scary because I don't know. I think there might be something going on up here. I don't know, something in the hippocampus. I don't know how the brain works entirely. I just know some words, but I feel like there's something's either shrunken or enlarged somewhere in their brain and is messing them up.
All shriveled.
Yeah,
Look like a raisin on one side.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of what's going on with the conformity gate thing, which I'm sure you've heard the word at some point, either from me or from like the people that be talking about it all over the place.
Yeah.
And I've never seen. I don't know if you have thought of anything since Stranger Things come out, but I don't think I know of any fandom in the last maybe 10, 15 years, or even the entirety of entertainment that has been this insane. Do you know anything about the conformity gate theory?
I know the one or two things about the secret episode that doesn't exist. And like, because you know about my job, so it's really funny having to talk to people and they're like, half of them are like, yeah, we were hoping for that secret ninth episode, and then the other half are like, girl, it wasn't no ninth episode. We're fine. Like it's fine.
Yeah, nah, it's insane. So I'm gonna break it down for as much as I know. So apparently, evidently, there's supposed to be this secret second finale, despite
All right.
all the money that they've paid to advertise this final season and that final episode, all the money they had to spend and lose putting that in a theater on New
Hmm.
Year's Eve day/day,
Hmm.
after all the emotional turmoil that we've been going through, and they're showing all the behind the scenes, and everything seems very final because it's the final
Hmm.
season. The final season. Okay. Some people expected there to be some sort of bamboozle
Right.
in that you would go back home and watch the real finale on your TV after they had everything in the theater. They sent the actors
Oh,
out.
definitely.
They sent the actors out to each little theater across the country where they was filming. I mean, where they were showcasing it. After
Yeah.
they've been doing all these big advertisement crossovers and everything, you think there's going to be another episode. So these people believe, due to like maybe some inconsistencies that happens, it happens in film and TV, especially in
Yeah.
digital, the digital era where they're trying to rush things out. There are a few inconsistencies that happen throughout each of the episodes for the final season, and then people kind of connect those to things that have might have been said or seen in earlier seasons. They're like, look, if you look at the clock, literally, no, what I'm saying is verbatim what people have said. If you look at the clock and you see where his hand is pointed at, it's at 10 and 2. And if you go back and look at episode 1 of season 2 at 3.5 minutes in, then you'll see that there also was another hand, but it was flipped on the other side. That means they were on the upside down, guys. And I'm like, yo, this is like when religious people think the world is ending, and then when the world doesn't end, they're like, oh, it's happening next year.
Yeah.
Come back
Right.
next year.
That's that's insane. So my sister's a big Stranger Things fan now,
Shout out to
and
sis.
shout out to my sister. She she got into it fairly recently, caught up immediately, watched everything, and her response was like, "Man, it's like Stranger Things fans have never seen the show." And I'm so confused. The fandom acts like they've never seen the show before because the questions they ask don't make sense. Like, do you remember the characters? Have you seen what's going on? Like
I
it's very
think
confusing for her
I
and for
think
me
what
too.
happened is that Stranger Things, when they were revving up this new season, a lot of new people came in.
Mm,
And I think a lot of the ones that were kind of pushing at these theories were new people pretending to be old fans from the beginning, or they might have
mm,
just been delirious. But I think a lot of these people were brand new. So they were trying to
yeah.
connect these dots for something that they had no context for. And it was just like the most innocuous, inane things on the planet. It could be someone's hair being a different color. It could be the way a mouth moved in a scene, or maybe there was a particle or no particles at all. It was all these different things, and they're making charts and video essays and all these different things, and it's just like, are you what is if you put as much effort into this as you did like community work, we'd be in a better place. If you put as much effort into this as helping your neighbor and your community, building a park or something like that, campaigning for change, we would be in a significantly better place. We probably wouldn't have that orange motherfucker in the office. But y'all sit here and was just typing and editing and video chatting for hours on end. I'm telling you, for the last like 2 weeks, for the last
Yeah.
2 weeks straight, just video after video after video after video. Most of the people were white. I did see maybe one brother, but most of them were white. And I'm just like, y'all need help. Y'all need a hobby.
That is their hobby.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Overthinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes the curtains are just blue, guys. That's the long and short of it.
But is there anything else that's caused such hysteria before? Like, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head, and I've been trying. Some like Star Wars, maybe? I don't know. Like old
No.
school Star
Even
Wars.
with the Star Wars fandom, like we know what it is. We're not overthinking as a fan of Star Wars. We're not overthinking every single detail of Star Wars. We're doing quotes, we're dressing up, we're getting lightsabers. We're just having a grand old time. We're not going back and like and if you look here at the when they were at the bar.
It was
Da
the
da 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 da.
Ewoks. They were
Yeah.
evil. Actually, no, I'm lying. There is, because there was this whole thing, and I think it became canon though. But they weren't going crazy, crazy like the Stranger Things people was. Jar Jar Binks being a Sith Lord the entire time. There's like this whole theory that Jar Jar Binks is an evil ass Sith Lord,
I
and
missed
he's
that
been
one.
plotting since day one. And they'll show like all these different things that he's been doing. They'll show a scene where he smirked when somebody fell or got hurt, and that his eyes
Funny.
are the same as a Sith Lord's, and he secretly is like the most powerful one because he was able to stop like an army of droids or something by being stupid, but he was actually really smart. It was like a whole thing I watched, and I was like, you know what, that does sound kind of convincing. And guess what they did? They made a Darth Jar Jar.
Love that.
They made a Darth Jar Jar. I don't know if it's super canon, but it's like officially in like Star Wars like
Yeah.
merch and like video games and stuff.
I feel like that's more fan service than a full-on story arc where there's a Darth Jar Jar like whole backstory
He's
in
gonna
a
kill
review.
you.
Right. It was me the whole time. Like I don't see that as the same as what Stranger Things got going on.
Yeah. And then my thing is too is like, what if you were right? Then you'd still be complaining about something else. Then you'd say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the dumbest thing ever. I can't believe they wasted all this time," or they didn't do it exactly the way I wanted it, so it's really dumb now, and da 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 da. But
I feel like at most it'd be just like an epilogue if they were gonna do something like that. But they already covered the epilogue in the end.
and they have a documentary. They just released a documentary about season 5, which people thought was going to have some sort of meta uh retelling or something, because I think there were some movies that came out in the 80s like Nightmare on Elm Street and a Wes Craven film where they did another film, but it was like a documentary, but it also like had elements of the real like story happening in real time or something like that. I don't remember,
Mm.
but apparently like that changed how certain movies or the ethos of those franchises happened or something like that, so they expected that to be a thing. But either way, Stranger Things is over, y'all. Stranger Things is over. They have two new franchises, two more spin-offs coming out. Is one is animated Tales from 85. We already know that's confirmed. And then they have another one that's in development that's going to be set possibly in the 90s. But there's no more L. There's no more Mike. There's no more Lucas. There's no more Hopper. There's no more Joyce. Drive. There's no more Demogorgons. There's no Vecna. There's nothing. Okay? It's all gone. Put it down.
Well, Vecna's gone
Rewatch
for
it from the
sure.
beginning and go away.
I was gonna say the only thing that's probably still in existence is the lab, right?
Maybe, but they did say they're done. Like they're not
Hmm.
touching this era, they're not touching this time period, they're not touching these characters no more. They can obviously change their minds down the road because they don't own the franchise, which is crazy.
Mm.
But as of right now, they said nah, they moving on. Outside of the animated spinoff that's coming out.
Yeah. Oof, that's a lot.
It is. It is. And I just hope I just hope one day we can get to a place where people accept things for what they are and not make up like I think it's fine to come up with theories for like little fun things and be like, "Oh, what if this means this?" But to start disparaging the creativity of the people that made the show that you love, to send threats or to try to like demonize all the people that are a part of it, you're just like you're basically Vecna. You're acting like Vecna. You're acting like a villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would anybody want to do anything for you if you're acting that way? That's just how I
Yeah.
see it.
It just happened with Sinners.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought up Sinners because we got a lot to talk about with Sinners. There's a lot to talk about
And
with
no.
Sinners. I've been ranting about this all week. What you was about to say?
No, the I forgot which director that was. I just saw like the interview where he was like, "Yeah, we pitched a few different
Oh,
we pitched a few different ideas to make it more
yeah,
inclusive."
the editor, the editor.
Yeah. What do you mean you pitched more ideas?
So for those who don't know, there was an interview that came out a few days ago with the editor from Sinners, who is a white man, and he had this whole spiel about wanting to do more with the franchise, and he wasn't even kind of, he was just referencing doing things for the white audience, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and obviously that comes from this long-standing thing of us not being able to have our own shit.
Right. Because it immediately turned into, well, what about Remick? What do you mean, what about Remick?
Care about no Remick? He
That
picked
wasn't
poor Robin
what the
clean, and that
story
was
was
it.
about.
Let
Like,
him go.
yeah, if anything, like if we want to go deeper into something, we could go back into what like what a griot is, or what this power that actually transforms,
Don't give
that
them ideas.
transcends time and space.
Don't give them
Listen,
ideas.
you're right. I mean, they're not gonna pick that up anyway because it's black and it's black
Well,
centered.
Ryan owns it, so if anything, it's up to him to decide. And right now, he's working on other
He
projects.
said he's done, and that's fine. I would prefer it that way
Yeah,
because even people were like originally like, "Ooh, are we gonna get a Sinners 2 for what? Everybody dead."
everything doesn't need to be a cinematic
We don't.
universe, and
We
I blame
don't need.
Marvel for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I blame Marvel for that. We've gotten to a place where everything needs a post-credit scene, everything needs to tie into everything else, and that's not a horrible thing. But when we get to a point where like people just can't enjoy a movie for the sake of a movie, then we have a problem.
Mhm. It's like when somebody it's the formula effect because like when somebody finds out that one thing was successful, or if it garnered certain amounts of attention, then everybody has to do it. And now like just to keep the attention. And it's so weird to me. Like we can all do different things, guys.
Yeah.
Just make your art and then let it be that.
Yeah, make your art and enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy other people's work for what it is. You don't have to put anything extra on it. I mean, obviously, with art, you're always going to get opinions. You're always going to get theories. You're always going to get some sort of fan feedback for good or ill. But I think we have to let the
Mhm.
creators have their shit and just leave it at that. If they want to create more, let them do it. Like the guy that made Squid Game, right? He ended up
Yeah.
making 3 seasons, and he's got the spinoff possibly coming, like the American thing. And cool, he did
Mhm.
that. But if he didn't want to, y'all should have just left it where it was.
Yes. I need to get back into Squid Game.
It's
I
all right.
learned Yeah, I liked the first season. I really enjoyed it. And then, you know, everybody capitalized on the whole thing. And I was like, well, this is ironic.
Yeah, that's
Not
just kind
surprising.
of what art is at this point,
Hmm.
where people aren't really, no, I don't want to say everybody, but I feel like a good majority of folks now, especially those who haven't like made it yet, we are kind of forced to play this game of I'm making stuff that I feel what might go viral. I'm making stuff because I feel that it's going to make money, right? When it should
Hmm.
just be about creating just to create. I'm sure when
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler was making Sinners, he said, "Yeah, man, you know." He was like, "Hey, this is gonna be great, and I'm making
Hmm.
this for my people." I'm sure he wanted to make some money off it, but he probably wasn't thinking like at the forefront, like this has to make $1 billion or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
He was just like, I need to tell this story. It's important. It's cool. It's intrinsic to the South. It's intrinsic to Black culture, Hoodoo religion, all these different aspects of what makes Black American culture, and
Yeah,
that's the important part.
for sure. I think ugh, part of where I am in my creative journey is kind of in that same vein. Like I have a hard time trying to do business, I guess, with my art, just because once I make it, then I'm like, okay, that was the creative idea that I needed to get out, versus, okay, how do I scale this? Because I like part of it is like overwhelm, but also that part also takes a lot out of me because I'm just like, well, now I don't want to do this anymore. Everybody's taking the fun out of it
Well,
because now
that's
I
the,
have to think about yeah, go ahead.
no. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I was just saying, like, now I have to think about like the nitty gritty of it all, or like the how do I keep everyone's attention? How do I keep the people uh like dedicated to me and all of that? When that's not necessarily what I go into it for, you know?
No, I get that, and I feel there's a fine balance you have to find, that you have to discover within yourself, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different
Mhm.
journey with this. So for some people, um, they can get up and record 30 videos from 9 to 2 p.m. and then edit those and have that happen like throughout the week. And then now they're just pumping stuff out and they're cool, they're vibing. And some people can react in the moment, like what's her name? You know, the girl we talk about all the time, Ramsey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jessica. No,
Francesca.
yeah, just
Francesca.
Jessica. Yeah, Francesca. She's quick. She'll have somebody make a comment on her threads or on Facebook, and then she'll turn that motherfucker into her song. And she put that out, and then it
Mhm.
gets like hundreds of thousands of views. And she's good at that. Some people are not. Some people would rather, like myself, would rather just spend most of the time creating something more worthwhile and substantial and non-reactionary. No disrespect to her, that's not what I meant to say, but something that's like,
Yeah.
let me release a comic and disappear for a little while, and then like come back when I have something else.
Yeah. That's that's my desire. I think a big part of how I've always worked, and even like before I started doing costuming, it was more so I created to really have the idea fleshed out and then see from there like would I want to do this again? What were like the parts of it? It's more of like a self journey than it is like for other people. And I find that that has really been a hard frame to kind of switch for myself. But I do enjoy, but that's kind of like why I enjoy the theater process because like it doesn't have to be something that I'm selling. Like I'm storytelling, you know, or I'm assisting in a storytelling, you know, and it allows me to like think about and overthink a lot of these like stories and scripts and you know all of that just to really add additional context through like what they're wearing or like what colors or like how they do their hair, those sorts of things. I love doing that versus trying to like I don't know, I don't like have a clothing line, you know? Like I went to school to be like a fashion designer and now I'm here in like costuming and sometimes I design, like sometimes I do like custom work and all of that. But it feels different than like trying to like scale a business. I don't know. It's I don't know, maybe it's different for everybody. I think for me as I'm working it out, it helps to like be aligned with a lot of people and really have that like community. And I know we've talked about that, like having a community of people that have different resources. So like I do like to come to like you and like my friend
Me?
Taylor. Yeah, you know, like you have insight from like a branding perspective, which is really cool. Like as an artist, you know, branding yourself and exploring that avenue because I've never really been good at that. Um, but then I go to like my friend Taylor because she is a business owner
Shout out
and
Taylor.
shout out to Taylor.
Tay Tay in the building.
She makes jewelry, but she makes jewelry. She has a brand called Hippie Adjacent. It's really, really fire. But like she also knows how to promote herself and not just through like digital marketing, but like also in the analog world, you know, like she does markets and all of that stuff. So like I like to ask her about her, you know, perspective on you know having a business and all of that. So like I definitely come to people and talk about those things and they share resources with me because it can be overwhelming just by myself. But yeah, I don't know, this that was a long tangent.
No, you good. You good. I think it is really important to find where you fit in this space,
Yeah.
especially because there's so much noise now. It's not how it used to be 10, 15 years ago when you were just on like not MySpace, Facebook or DeviantArt
Yeah.
or Tumblr and things like that, where it was much easier because it was less people. Now everybody with a device, everybody
Mhm.
that has a little bit of credit or some money can buy these things to get on here and
Mhm.
add to the noise. So finding out where you fit in, that's the first hurdle, and that's the first challenge. And I feel like organically it happens over time. For
Yeah.
me, like you can have intentions. I think it's important to have those intentions set out, like what you want to do, what you stand for. But then you might end up in a space where you meet other people, both virtually or in person, that might have you shift to something different. Like I never imagined myself being so community oriented in a space where I'm providing for other people,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's like the opportunities, the grant writing workshops, and things of that nature. I didn't see myself as a teaching artist, like being in front of a group of young people or adults teaching them how to make comics. I just thought I would just get on here, post some pretty illustrations, and people go, "Wow, how much?" But it's evolved into all these different little niches or spaces that I'm still trying to figure out, and still trying to find ways to evolve, and obviously find ways for that to generate some income because your boy need that money. But um that's that personal journey we all have to step into. And for you, the sky's the limit, especially for what you do. And I think personally, what you have under your belt before you really let loose is a good foundation, with the costume design, with the fashion, even with the other skill that I'm not going to mention because you don't probably want people to know. But uh it's all revolving around theater and acting. So I just don't, she's awesome, y'all. But
Thank you.
um I feel you have a great foundation to bounce off from and have that launching pad to get into these other arenas, especially since you've been in specific areas for so long. And that's one thing that'll be my last point. That's one thing I feel people need to kind of start latching on to when they are in these spaces, whether it's working on Broadway, being in the same room as somebody that's a director. You never know, right? They might see you doing something, you might say something to them that sparks a whole new venture, and now you're part of another branch or facet of your community. And that's what we need to focus on, is getting around people and stop being by ourselves.
Yeah. I like my solitude though. No, but I definitely agree. I think it's important to have people in different facets of like, or different career areas, different levels of knowledge, all of that, just because you always need to be learning something from the people around you. You always need to be able to teach somebody something as well. I think that's just how we learn and grow.
Yeah. And I just feel like if we were able to, and when I say we, I'm talking about the kinfolk, if we were able
Mm,
to collectively come together and just truly authentically support one another, it doesn't always have to be about money. It could just be about word of mouth. It could be critique, right? um for me, let's say I go to a restaurant. We're just talking about the entire spectrum of Black entrepreneurship. Let's say I go to a restaurant and the food is pretty good. Like, I got some catfish and grits, and then I order a side of something else. Maybe I have some sweet tea or whatever the case may be. I'm going on the southern side because I know that's how you understand food. Uh,
all right.
um, but let's say like maybe the sweet tea wasn't hitting. Let's say the catfish was a little bit too hard. Now, what we do in our community is kind of messed up. We'll go, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever. I'm never going here again." Or, the food was good, but that one thing really messed it up for me. So I can't give them a full. I gotta give them like 2 stars. And it's like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? And I feel like what we should do instead, whether it is restaurants, whether it is clothing, whether it's skincare products, give positive feedback.
Hmm.
Just say, "Hey, I bought this, or I ate this, I tried this. Maybe add a little bit of this. Have you thought about doing blah blah blah? Maybe if you did X, Y, and Z." Just offer some sort of critique or feedback, because that's how we improve. That's how we elevate each other, instead of getting online and disparaging people. just because you
Mhm.
want to get some extra clout or clicks and views, or you want to be the first person to like expose somebody. And it's like, you don't do that. I'm gonna sound like an FBA or a Hotep or some shit, but you don't do that to the white people. You don't. You when you go to their
Yeah.
restaurants and stuff, you sit there and you eat. You eating pretty, and you'll complain, but you'll still take it home and eat it. As soon as you get
Mhm.
a black plate of food, it's like, oh, this shit nasty. Look at this. Like they'll have the whole video. Look at this, y'all. Just fiddling through it. Look at this. They got napkins in here. Look at this. Look at
Not
this.
that got napkins.
Yeah, they'll do a whole fucking episode of Bones, like digging into this damn food off of one little mistake. They've been going there their whole life. They mess up one time. Now it's over.
Yeah. I think we definitely do hold ourselves to different standards for sure. Um, that that has been a long-standing thing. That's part of that generational trauma, I think. Uh, truly. Uh, and it is really hard to like give criticism to like for me, I find that I have a hard time like being critical of black establishments. Just because I'm like, I know it probably took a lot to get to this point, and there's a lot riding on that because we don't get the funding, we don't get, the same support all the time. Um, and I think there should be more resources available for us to like teach certain people how to run their businesses, because that also does affect how like the black business owners, how they show up for their clientele, because some of them are literally going into this blind, and it shows, and then it's upsetting because like we're already holding ourselves up to like a high standard, plus now you obviously don't know what you're doing, but you're trying to make something because you know that it should exist. So then it's like a battle of two different sides, because black people expect things to already be established because we're so used to everybody else having things established and fully planned out and prepared and ready. Meanwhile, with black businesses, which are often small businesses, we don't give them the same grace, and it can be hard. It like even for me, I get really anxious even when I do custom work, despite having done it for so long. It's like I still like I have a tendency to really, really be hard on the full quality of something and like the quality control of things because I know like as a person that hand makes stuff, the first thing people do is look it over and pick it apart in a totally different way versus them just going to like the store and just assuming it's going to be fine, like they don't look at the seams the same way. They're not, looking at
Yeah,
zippers
motherfucker put out a
and
magnifying glass, like, oh look,
yeah,
look at that.
no, and you
They got a
have to.
different stitch in that pattern.
Mhm. Be like, "Oh, she used a different colored thread. It's not the same thread that the dress is colored or whatever." Like
Meanwhile, all the clothes they getting come from Cambodia. Like they stitching that shit together, not on no funny shit. Like
No,
they
seriously.
getting low quality fast fashion stuff from companies that don't care about you because half the stuff is got microplastics in it from material that's poisoning your skin every
Mhm.
day. And when someone comes out with some sort of clothing that is healthier for you in all sense of the word, you look at it funny. You scratch your head. You're like, what is that? I don't know what hemp is, and all this stuff. You want to cross examine someone like you, fucking Rodney Rodney. Who's Rodney? Johnny Cochran.
I was about to say
Oh,
Rodney King because that's the only person I was thinking of. I'm like, that's not
I
right.
fused them together. Rodney Cochran. It's like Dragon Ball
Yep,
Z. Did the
amazing.
dance.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my friend. Man, we was me and Kadeem. We was tight. I think he still watches my stuff sometimes. So shout out to you, because we used to watch Dragon Ball Z like all the time. And what we would do, and I think I've talked about this before, off topic, really quick. We have the composition notebook. So one night
Hmm.
I would take her home and we were watching Toonami. I'll be drawing in it. The next day, I bring it back. He take it home. He's watching Toonami. He's drawn in, and we made like this little story. And he was significantly better than me at the time. Like this dude, if I could pull it out right now, I think we was in 5th grade. So we were like 10 years old, and this motherfucker drawn just like Akira Toriyama. Like he had the muscle definition, he
Okay.
had the facial expressions. And I'm over here drawing shit that looked like Adventure Time. No offense, but like it was cool.
That's
Um,
cool.
but yeah, like when it comes to this space, we're so hypercritical of each other, and then we
Mhm,
become very anxious ourselves on like how we present to the world. Like for me,
mhm.
that's why I'm so rigid. I think that's why I'm so rigid, is because like I'm worried someone's gonna be like, look at that, look at the little gap in his armor, that one graphic
Yeah.
is wrong, da 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 da. Meanwhile, people probably not even saying shit at all, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I try to give us as much grace and chance as possible, especially when it comes to visual art, especially when it comes to film, especially when it comes to anything that we create with our hands that we also consume on the daily. So like, um, if somebody was like, "Hey, I just put out this short film, it's on YouTube," I'll watch it and I'll
Yeah.
comment. You know what I'm saying? And then if there's something I feel like needs to be improved, I will give feedback if they're open to it. And that's how it should
Mhm.
work. That's how it should be. Because then, the next video that person puts out, the next film they put out could be significantly better. And they can give me a little cut of the money
Mhm.
because it's now popular,
All right. You was so close to
It's the
just
capitalism in my mind. I got to get it out. Ugh.
It's fine, it's fine.
Money, 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 money. Like Mr. Krabs.
Yes, Mr.
Money, money, money,
Krabs.
money. But I feel like we may start to get into a better place despite all the other things that are happening around us. I feel like we could possibly get in a better place. I do see more interactivity online than I did before. People are coming together. I mean, that post I had on Threads that kind of blew up in a sense where Spike Lee commented on it and Kyrie Irving followed me from it. I saw a lot of people that were interested and really enjoyed what I showcased, and a lot more people
Mhm.
were interested in commissioning me. Are all those people going to be the ones to commission me? No, but at least it created a space where we were actively talking and having discussions about something that we don't often get to talk about with joy. You know what I'm saying? Art, cartoons, illustrations. People were like, "Oh man, this reminds me of '90s Nickelodeon. This takes me back. I remember when I was a kid." I'm like, "That's beautiful." You don't have to buy
Mhm.
anything. I just love the fact that you enjoyed it to a point where it made you think about a fond memory with your loved one or something you do with your kids now. And that's what
Mhm.
that's what our art should be at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I've been seeing more uh of a push for what they call slow fashion, which is just the opposite of fast fashion. Seeing a lot of brands really kind of go in with a different version of sustainability because like fashion in general is not sustainable just because we're all producing something, and at this point it's kind of an overproduction thing, so the goal is more so to produce less in such a small scale versus what we're doing right now. um and but I have seen a lot of people be more focused on like secondhand, but also if they are purchasing, they're purchasing from designers locally, or you know, in general, they're purchasing from people who are like, hey, this is handmade. This was handmade here by me. Or like, it was designed by me and the manufacturers are here. And we're doing this amount of merch and this amount of, this particular brand. There have been a couple brands where I'm just like, okay, this is going to be something that I could see lasting for a long time because not only are the design elements there, I think that's something that kind of misses a lot of the time, especially with like sustainable fashion. A lot of the times it's just kind of ugly, no shade, but like sometimes it's just not flattering. Like it's just like a boring white t-shirt, or it's
One of them big,
yeah,
talking about
just
them big ones that be going all the way down, like the
right.
oversized shirts. I've seen those. Yeah.
It's that, or it's like literally just your basic pieces. And yes, you want to invest in basics just because those are universal, those are versatile, all of that. But it also helps to have things that people find eye catching, that people find unique, that people will actually gravitate to. And I'm starting to see that, especially from black designers, which is super cool. I'm starting to see like an uptick in slow fashion from black designers that actually looks good and isn't like over the top pricey. Like it's affordable, but it's not something that you have to like you're not doing hauls with it. Like you're not buying like a million different things. You're buying this piece because it's special and because you know that you're going to wear it for a lot longer than if you went to Shein and bought it and
So, are there
sent it.
influencers that are doing that, like the anti haul, where it's like, hey, I went and bought this one particular piece, and I'm going to highlight this during this video. Do people do that?
Mhm. I do follow a couple of different influencers. One of them, specifically, her name is Polychrome, I think, on Instagram. She does she does a lot of sustainability, um, style, like lifestyle and style vlogging, and a lot of it has to do with personal style. And she's also like what they consider a maximalist, so she like plays a lot with color and print and texture,
Does she
which is
have
super
like? Does she wear like a lot of rings?
uh,
Because I'm thinking of
no.
somebody I've seen where they are a maximalist influencer, and then she has like mad rings. She has long fingers. She got like mad rings on both hands.
Oh no, it's not her. It's
Okay.
not her. I know who you're talking about. She's I forget her name, but she highlights a lot of African designers, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Um, but the girl I'm talking about, she uh more so she existed in like the personal space, personal style vlogs and like the style fashion vlogs and stuff like that. But she's a lot more bubbly, and a big part of like her whole thing was repeating outfits, repeating pieces from her wardrobe. If she did happen to buy something, she it was from a brand that either kind of sponsored the post or something like that, where she basically highlighted, okay, this is a black owned brand or woman owned brand. Um, the piece is versatile, so you can wear it multiple different ways. Like she really kind of makes that effort to showcase things that way, which I thought was cool. And I think we could learn a lot from. I think more of the style influencers could be doing that. There's kind of like a niche right now. It feels like a niche. Um,
What do you think about Wisdom K? Where does he fit into that?
ooh, wisdom, and as much as I love wisdom as a style like influencer, like he understands fashion in a way where I know he studies it. I think there are things that in his whole brand that could be more sustainable. Now, I do appreciate that he does highlight things for like more affordable to, the extreme luxury side. He definitely goes for both sides. But I think in terms of sustainability, he doesn't. That's never been something that was like something that he's just like promoting.
And do you think
But
people like him should be more, at least try to be cognizant of that, to kind of shift the tide? Because I feel like he's at the forefront of at least like social media fashion influencing.
Mhm.
And I can't think of anybody else that's as big as him. He went to the Met, you know what I'm saying? So I feel
Yeah.
like, should he be responsible in starting that trend, or should we just rely on the communal effort?
I don't necessarily think he should be responsible for starting the trend. I think from what I know about his videos, because I definitely follow him, I think one thing I do like is that he's not forcing people to go buy these. Like, it's not like certain influencer like walk, don't run, go get this, da 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 da. Like his whole thing is showing that certain silhouettes can work, certain things, pieces can work, but he also, and he does repeat certain pieces from his own wardrobe, which is pretty cool. I think that that is something that does need to be emphasized. Um, but I don't know. I'm like torn because I'm like I wish that he would promote more sustainable like ways in fashion. I also wish he would, promote more sustainable brands. But who's to say he doesn't? I think that there are certain brands that he
I
does
mean,
promote. He
if
definitely
he
promotes a
does,
lot of.
if I feel like if he did, you would know.
True. You're right.
As big as
You're
he
right.
is,
I think there is an opportunity to promote more um local small designers, not small, but like local designers, um more sustainable designers. I think there's definitely an opportunity. And you could hear this and be like, you know what, you're right, Jasmine.
right? He
You
watching, yeah, he watching this podcast. He's
watch
gonna
it
be
right
watching this
now.
podcast right now, and he's gonna be like, yeah,
Hmm.
you know what? Let me hit up that feisty
Got
girl Jazz. Let me partner with her, and now you're gonna be making big shit for him and all the other folks at the gala.
you.
I feel like overall, I think that's something that Black people in our community should embrace because
Hmm.
we've become such like avid consumers. We move the market. We have motion in this world, and I think if collect like across the board, I keep using the word collectively, but across the board, whether it's with fashion, whether it's with contemporary art, visual art, dance, film, TV, I think we should try to practice more sustainable work ethic. So instead of being
Hmm.
like, I just got the new Wacom tablet, 45,000, and it has all the biggest. Like, we should try to be like, hey, I went and got a used, pen, Apple pen,
Hmm.
or I found another alternative that's just as good as this. Because that way, we're helping with the smaller or independent or emerging businesses or people who are just really trying to make things, shake, and we're also showing people that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to like make things happen. Yes, you need
Yeah.
good quality, but quality doesn't always have to be expensive. Quality expensive doesn't mean quality because I've seen stuff that costs a lot of money and ends up being trash. You know how many headphones I've been through that are reportedly like the best headphones because they cost $200, $300, and
Yeah.
then they hurt my head and they snap because my head too big. Oh, Turtle Beach. I actually didn't buy those. I got those for free, but they didn't last long. And I take
Okay.
care of my stuff, and they didn't last long. So I just feel like that's what I want to
Yeah.
try to do too is just be like, hey, here's some resources, here's some supplies and things that you can get that are relatively cheap or inexpensive that won't break your pocket and still create quality work. I've seen motherfuckers use off brand Crayola and make some amazing pieces.
Hmm.
It's really up to you as the artist. The tools make things more convenient, but it's really up to you as an artist to really flesh out what you have in front of you.
Hmm. Absolutely. I think it's funny because I think Black people have an inherent sustainability practice in certain things. Like a great example is the amount of plastic bags you probably have under your sink right now. Like those things have definitely been put into practice for generations, reusing plastic, um recycling clothes like hand-me-downs, and like that's not
Well,
inherent to Black
that's
culture,
because we was broke. That's because
but
people was
but you get it
you
though.
ain't getting no
Like
new
that's
Jordans, boy.
your brother got
These
good Jordans.
these
They
Jordans been
still they
passed
still
down from
new.
generation to generation from 1992. Every brother in the
They
family has
still
worn
work.
these.
They still nice. We keep them clean here. Every week we
The
wash them with
annual
the
cleaning.
toothbrush. Mhm. We get the toothbrush out and we make sure the white's still white.
And they all take turns doing it so they can learn responsibility. Here, this will be
Mhm.
you in 5 years when you get big enough to wear them.
You go.
But no, I get you though. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like that we definitely have that as part of like our practice in other ways. I do find it funny that when it comes to like fashion and gadgets and like just the things that are heavily promoted for overconsumerism, we kind of all fall into that trap of buying things we don't need, overbuying things we don't need, or assuming that something is good quality because you spent XYZ amount of dollars on it, when at one point you people knew and understood like fabrication and like what it meant to have like a good quality coat versus like just something cute to wear out real quick, you know? And I think a lot of us, especially like Gen X millennials, definitely kind of fell into that, for the moment type of just consumerism. I don't That's the best way to call to
I mean,
that I
it was
can.
sold to them. Do you not see all the crazy, insane commercials they had back in the day? I'll sometimes watch like commercial compilations, and it was just advertise. Like you think it's advertising everywhere now, but it was like really baked into so many things. Where like, yeah, you did want to end up buying, that random ass appliance that you didn't need. Like I bet you right now, everybody watching this has a parent or grandparent that has all three of these: air fryer, microwave, toaster oven. You don't need all three of those. You only
You
need
do.
one. You can shop at 5 or 6 stores or just one. Okay?
I mean, like I miss my toaster oven, but I remember thinking like, do I need an air fryer? And then realizing that an air fryer is just a mini convection oven, and then realizing that my toaster oven had a convection setting, and I was like, oh, well then no, I don't need, I don't need that. It's fine. Um, I I was watching this one lady. She said she records herself, like to prevent herself from buying things. She records the thing that she thinks she wants in the moment. So it's like she'll make a description, uh, just so her ADHD doesn't take control. And like one of them was like a tomato shaped egg timer. And then there was like another thing, like all of the items were very useless and unnecessary to buy, but it was like 12 things. And if she hadn't recorded it, she probably would have had those 12 things in her house,
Yeah. And I
just taking up space, collecting dust.
and I think that's so easy for us to fall into, especially when things are like cutesy or like have some sort of
Hmm.
nostalgia attached to it. I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
you have some things in your room right now or in your house that you don't necessarily need, but you got them just because it was cute or it makes you think about somebody or whatever the case may be. And that's just, I feel like inherently we're like that as human beings. Even before consumerism
Yeah.
was a thing, I'm pretty sure our ancestors were able to create and craft their own, stuff, and they
Yeah.
had the stuff just laying around because it was cool. They thought it was fun, or they thought
Yeah.
it'd bring a smile to somebody's face, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I want to definitely throughout the rest of this year and going forward make sure that I'm practicing more sustainability and promoting that and trying to find inexpensive but quality alternatives to the things that they tell you to get, the things that they tell you you need. You need to have this tablet, you need to have this computer, you need to have these brushes, you need to have this sewing kit, you need to have that. You know what I'm saying? If we could find those alternatives and make a list and compile, I think people would try. Not everybody's going to convert so easily, but I
Yeah.
think at least they would look and try and see, and maybe you get one person and at least another person, and it just builds off from there. How familiar are you with Drewski? I'm pretty sure you know who Drewski is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw, but he recently released a new skit where he basically was a mega church pastor. And he
Oh yeah.
made fun of like everything from Homeboy that said close the doors. I can't remember his name.
Mhm.
He made fun of like he did like a whole,
Yeah.
it was a whole thing, had a whole crowd. It was like inside of a mega church. And it was pretty funny, and people are like, "Oh, he making fun of God. He's being disrespectful. He's doing this. He's doing that." And it's like, no, he's making fun of. He's highlighting and pointing commentary towards how messed up we are when it comes to
Hmm.
religion, specifically the Christian religion, and how it became more centered around the man than the spirit.
Yeah. And that's something that he's not the only person that's done that, which is why it's always so funny when, like, especially church folks will be like, oh, well, that's blasphemy. It's like, well, he's not talking about God in this scenario. If you actually listened, he was talking, he's literally making fun of the preacher. Like the blasphemy is coming from inside the church at this point. Like we're missing the plot here, guys. And some of y'all are falling for it real hard, and that's really sad because now you're feeling triggered because you put a lot of faith into a pastor and not your own personal faith. You're not doing your walk, as some of the people like to say, former church folk here.
Walk the
You know,
path. It just made me think of that episode of the Boondocks where Granddad was captured by the Tyler Perry cult,
hmm
and they were like, "We looking for Granddad." He said, "The guy said, just follow the path and you'll find him." And then his trench coat came up and he was butt ass. I was like, "What is this?"
It's still one of my favorite episodes. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
all
crazy.
insane. But yeah, like it always happens anytime a comedian does like anything involving the church, and even if it's not a negative joke toward the church, it could be jokes and the church are involved in the jokes. Then at every black church person from here to the end of the universe, they are always going to be upset. There's a comedian, I don't know if you know the comedian Kev on Stage.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, he's
come
lit
on now. Kev on Stage is about as big or bigger than Drewski.
about, yeah.
He's got his own.
And
He's got like 2 TV shows. He's got a book out. He does commercials, comedy tour. So he's about as big or bigger.
yeah, but like at one point, even with the show Churchy that he was doing, he had like a whole slew of people that was mad at him for even making the show.
Isn't he a pastor though?
He's former pastor. He used to be a pastor, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, he very much grew up in the church, grew up in like what he would call now like almost cultish behavior in some parts of his church, but like he grew up in the word, as some would say, and then he also became a pastor and was writing sermons. Like even now a lot of his stuff is still very Christian centered, Christian oriented, and you still have people of, the Christian faith, or so say they are, will still have issue with anything that he does comically. They have issues with him, like even having like alcohol or just in his
They
regular
was
life.
eating crab legs last week. I don't want to hear
Bro,
nothing.
shrimp in the grits, like
Yeah, like come
pork
on.
chops,
You're not
like
really reading the word. You just
listen,
act like you're
your
reading the
whole
word.
closet is polyester.
Yeah.
You got blended fabrics. Don't talk to me.
They get angrier at the black artists than they do the white people out here. The white influencers and the
Mhm.
white artists saying the N word. They out here putting on blackface. They out here saying the most egregious things. It's like, oh no, it's fine, it's comedy, or oh no, that's fine.
Mhm.
He let somebody do a 2 step real quick, and it's like,
Now
oh
Connor
yeah,
is invited to all the
Connor,
cookouts.
you with us, you with the family now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And over
The
here
minute he
shucking and
get too
jiving and
comfortable.
shit. Yeah, and get
Mm.
too comfortable. They shucking and jiving. I just saw a picture. Everybody was like, it was a picture of Andy Milonakis. He had a shirt on that said, "I love being a black woman," and I'm like, here go all the raccoons. We rocking with Andy. Ooh, I
Mhm.
remember the Andy Milonakis show. Meanwhile, Andy hasn't paid the motherfucking homeless dude he had on his show when that shit first came out. Ralphie is still on the streets. They never paid Ralphie.
Also, Andy Milonakis's humor and his fan base always gave like racist troll. But like even when he wasn't being racist like on the show, because I remember watching the show, he wasn't like actively being racist. It just, I remember his fan base being in Texas, and like that whole edge lord humor, that rage bait humor literally came with a side of racism every time, because saying the N word or being homophobic was considered edgy and funny.
That's what happens
So
when you
it's
rock peas on your head and don't get called a pea head.
don't, don't we should have called him a meathead.
When life give you lemons, don't make beef stew. That's the problem. That's the
crazy.
problem
He's
with
over
Andy.
here doing too much.
I'm just really tired of white people. Like honestly, just full straight up.
Just
I'm
in general.
tired. Yeah, because
That's fair.
I've had so many interactions, at least online, because I feel like in person they don't say nothing really. They'll do microaggressions, but online they come out the side of their neck all the time and say the most egregious things. Like going back to the whole sentence thing, there's this whole
Mhm.
debate, and I ranted about this the other day, and I feel like I'm about to go into that space again. So forgive me if I start getting a little like
Go ahead.
ornery, but like we got this whole thing with the Oscars and the Golden Globes and all this shit. We got all these movies that came out, and they're all great, they're all good, right? I'm
Mhm.
not going to sit here and say that, you know, Marty Supreme is the worst movie in the world, but when you stack it up next to Sinners, it's not. I'm not going to say Timothy Chalamet is a terrible actor, but how many people do you wake up? How many people you know wake up and be like, "Oh, I'm about to go see the Timothy Chalamet movie"? No, motherfucker said, "I'm going to see Dune." They didn't say, "I'm going to see the Timothy Chalamet movie." When Creed came out, they said, "I'm going to see the Michael B. Jordan boxing movie." That's what they said.
Mhm.
They didn't say I'm going to see Creed. They said I'm going to see Michael B. Jordan's movie. Everybody auntie said I'm going to see Michael B. Jordan's movie. What aunties is going to see Timothy Chalamet? Not one, because white people don't
No,
have aunties. They have annies. Okay,
no,
they have
no.
annies.
Just that video game. Auntie's
Listen,
choice.
listen, listen. They said Andy Griffin said Aunt B. All right, and he didn't say Aunt B. He said Aunt B. All right. The
They
thing
don't say
is like no matter what we do, no matter how good we are, no
yeah.
matter how in depth the film and intricate the quality of the way something is shot or drawn or illustrated or somebody dances, the way something is stitched together or the way somebody sings, it doesn't matter because it never qualifies on their standard no
Mhm.
matter what it is because they have such a weird meter because they just hate us so much. They love what we do because they want to steal it and jack it and profit off of it. Like how Homeboy
Mhm.
trademarked tendonism off of Ankh from Destination Smokehouse. But they won't give him the time of day to really make his own videos and speak, even though that's a whole different thing going on. We don't have time to get into that. But my thing is like Sinners had people going to the movies over a dozen times.
Mhm.
They had groups of people taking field trips, church folk going to the movies. Motherfuckers was going there because Ryan Coogler, they didn't have no, they, you know how much money they spend on Marty Supreme? Millions of dollars to advertise that. They had all kinds of viral guerrilla marketing campaigns, putting him on
That's
these
crazy.
TV shows, him being a little British rapper and all this stuff, and pop locking. Ryan Coogler, all he did was make a video about how amazing a certain type of film was and why he wanted to put it in IMAX. And then every nigga and their mama went to go see it in IMAX because they loved the passion that he had come out of his heart. He spoke from his heart.
Mhm.
That's what we do as black people. Our stories aren't just for money. Our stories are to express ourselves. Our stories
Yeah.
come from something. Like I kid you not, there was motherfuckers talking on threads saying that I was rage baiting because I made some characters black or whatever. That's my version of cosplaying. I'm expressing myself. The stuff that I make comes
Mhm.
from my personal experiences and what I grew up around. I grew up around beautiful, thick black women. I grew up around strong, confident black men. I grew up around people who were within community and teaching Afrocentrism. You know what I'm saying? I went to one of the best middle schools in Brooklyn, and it was an all black. Most of my upbringing, no, not most, my entire upbringing in school was all black, and my middle school had the most Afrocentric and black empowered people on the fucking planet. And they
Mhm.
instilled in us that same quality that I'm trying to exude today. So when I make my stories, when I put my characters out, it's not me just trying to do something just to do it. It's not me just making something just because I think it's going to go viral. Unit 333 is based off of me trying to commit. Sweaty Minds is based off of colloquialisms and memes and our culture that happen every day or stuff that's from back in the past. Epic Ethel is about the struggle against gentrification. You know what I'm saying? Sinners is about the appropriation of black culture being siphoned for white people, no matter how good their intentions are. Remick is not a hero, he's a villain. You had white people talking about, oh, we love Remick. Remick was trying to destroy everything and did. Them people was having a good time. They was eating fish and dancing and sweating on each other. And here he come
Yeah.
biting somebody. Now everybody a vampire and they burnt up and dead.
And on top of that, Remy's sole purpose there was to literally steal and then destroy everything. Like it wasn't like he just came out of there on the goodness of vibes and he was just like, I heard there was a party and I'm just trying to be a part of the party. He was like, I want to be a part of the party and I'm taking all of y'all down so I can get to what I want. It's not even about like it wasn't about the spiritual liberation. Like that was a lie. There's like that's like a whole thing about vampires. They put you in a trance, they lie, they do whatever they need to do to
That's
steal.
white
And
liberals.
it's really crazy. And like even I think a lot of people missed that whole metaphor because they were like, well, he talked about the Klan. I was like, yeah, no, he doesn't mess with the Klan
But he's
because
still
at that point
problematic.
he's still very problematic. Like he still was about to
Turning
kill all
somebody
the
into
black
a
people.
vampire is not just handshaking somebody and then they just turn. You
No.
have to bite them, they die and are reborn as an
Yeah.
undead creature.
And
That is
literally
not
can't
fun.
go to the afterlife. Like the whole thing, they
You're
can't go to the afterlife anymore because
and
they're
that flew over
dead.
people's head and they want to talk about Marty Supreme. They want to compare it to all these other films. Like in my world, I would want Sinners to sweep the entire categories for all the awards this season. But obviously, there's other things going on. I'm not going to sit there and say every other movie is trash. But when we are comparing apples to oranges here, like K-pop Demon Hunters didn't do the numbers Sinners did. Marty Supreme didn't do the numbers Sinners did. And outside of the numbers, if people want to talk about numbers, we got to talk about cultural impact, the motion that this
Hmm.
movie had. It's not about just how much money is made, but what it really impacted on the community and what
Hmm.
it impacted on our society. How many people went to go see it dozens and dozens of times? And it's coming back on the 23rd, and I guarantee you there's going to be mad people going back to see it again. You had
I'll go.
people forcing other people to go. They were buying other people's tickets and saying, we're going to go see this movie. You had people
Hmm.
already. The movie had only been out for like a week, and motherfuckers was on TikTok making cosplays already. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? You got people making tribute songs and making all these different, like Sinners was the top movie of 2025 on every aspect. And I'm just sick and tired of white people saying, "Oh, it was just all right. It was a bootleg Until Dawn or Dust Till Dawn, whatever that movie was from the 90s with the vampires." And
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
that's not even true.
yeah, and it's
Like
like come on, like let's for real. Dust to that movie didn't even do nothing. It didn't make no motion.
it's
It made money,
storyline
but
wise, it's not even the same thing. Like
yeah,
it's not the same movie.
and they
But
stay doing that every single time we do something extraordinary, which is damn near every single time we create in any
mhm.
part in any medium. It's never good enough because they can't do it themselves. And I guarantee you, in about a year or maybe another year, 2 years time, there's gonna be somebody trying to do a white Sinners. I guarantee you, someone's gonna try to do a white Sinners. You laughing? Somebody's
No,
gonna do
no,
it.
no. I believe you, but my whole thing is like, where do you even start there? You know, like, so what is it gonna be? It's gonna be what, a white Klan rally?
It's gonna be
And
about black people coming in and ruin the neighborhood. They gonna make it look like
they've already done that movie
they, but they
several
gonna they
times.
but they gonna do it again. It's gonna be vampires and werewolves. We're not even gonna be vampires. We're gonna be beasts. We're gonna be like the beast
Where,
monsters. We're not even gonna be the sexy monsters. We're gonna be the beast monsters. Watch. I guarantee you somebody's gonna
where
do that.
gorillas.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Sorry.
Yo, that's crazy.
You know they love to make a monkey.
And that's what
They
they
love
doing with
to
all
make a
this
monkey
AI.
play.
As soon as they had access to all the newer versions of the AI, the first videos that was coming out, we don't be doing nothing. That's the thing. We
Racism.
don't do nothing. Black artists don't bother white people at all. We'll say things here and there in response to what they do, but we don't instigate. Constantly, they are taking some sort of art form and making it racist just because they hate us so much. How are you going to sit there and have a piece of technology and the first thing you want to do, instead of thinking of a cure for cancer or some shit, you want to make a gorilla video of somebody talking about EBT stamps? What is wrong with you? Why are you coming on my posts talking about I niggified Nickelodeon? Like, why are you coming on here doing that? Why are you berating a young woman for cosplaying a character from a cartoon. She can't change the color of her skin. What you want her to
Like,
do? And that poor girl, and
mm-hmm.
she wasn't the only one, and she's not the first one.
Mm-mm.
Just mind our own business. We're not saying, hey, white people, look at me, look at what I'm doing, come get me. No, we're just existing, and they always want to come in, slink in, just like Remick. Hey, what y'all got going on? Get
Mm-hmm.
out. Literally, get out. There's no purpose for you to be here. Everything doesn't need to be involved with you or anybody else for that matter that's not black. We can never have anything for ourselves. We can never create anything for ourselves or share something publicly. We can't just have. There's no feasible way to have a massive private network. We share things publicly because we know it's going to touch our people across the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people just upset that we have stories and culture that existed long before they even started banging pots together.
Or thinking of us as human.
Right. And it's just frustrating. That's why, like, whenever something new comes out, like whether it's a video game like South of Midnight, I'm gonna big that up. I'm gonna promote that. If it's a new cartoon that's coming out, like Iyanu, I'm gonna do a video on that soon. I'm bigging that up and I'm promoting that. If
I
it's
think they're coming out with a second season too. I just
Yeah,
saw
they got
an
nominated at the NAACP award. And if it's like a new comic or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna make sure that we're bigging up our people and we're promoting that joy and that love and that self-expression because we want to just exist. You don't see that happen to, at least I can't speak for nobody else, but you don't see that happen with other cultures. You don't see that happen with Asians. You don't see that happen with Latinos. Everybody get to have their own thing, but as soon as black people do something, they want to take it, they want to steal it, they want to appropriate it, they want to make fun of it, they want to put it on as a costume. They want to be in our skin so bad, like Jordan Peele's Get Out. They want to
Yeah.
be in our skin so bad. Like, go the fuck away. Like, leave us the fuck alone. What the fuck is wrong with you?
You know what I find really interesting? I don't remember if there was discourse around Get Out, like wanting to make a white Get Out, like a white version of that movie.
No, but there are people that were rooting for the girl. There are white
I
people
do
that
a
liked
lot of
her.
people being like, "Yeah, well, she was innocent in all this." Like, no, she was an active participant. She just grew up in it. Like, she might have had a different outcome if she was, like, differently minded, but the whole time she literally actively participated till the very
And
end.
even if she
Like,
didn't actively participate, being aware of it and being silent is being complicit.
just as yeah, it's just as bad. That you're very right about how, like, even with, like, cultural definitive art, like, Crazy Rich Asians, I remember
Great
that
movie.
being such it's but I love it. I actually just love the cinematography of it just in general, but just how they could make Crazy Rich Asians, nothing nobody in the Eurosphere, I'm just calling it that right now, but, like, nobody was like, "Where is Crazy Rich White People?" Or, like, whatever, like, they didn't ask for
What
a
about
white
ham
version.
hocks?
What about him?
That's all they doing is what about ham hock and everything.
It's crazy because they didn't do that with Crazy Rich Asians, which was so interesting,
You
but
know
I was
why?
like,
Because there is a fetishization at a different level with Asian culture. The same thing
"Am
can
I
be said
minority?"
for Parasite. Parasite is probably one of the best thrillers I've seen in a long time. I didn't have to, and that's another part too, where they say I couldn't relate to X, Y, and Z, and it's like you don't have to be black to enjoy the movie. I didn't have to be Korean to enjoy Parasite, and I've watched that
Mhm,
multiple times, and I think it's really fun and crazy and interesting. And nobody said, oh, we need to make an American version of this or we need to do that because they're just so obsessed in a different level. You see that with the Japanese culture and with Japanese cartoons and
mhm.
animation. They want to be like, oh, where's my waifu? I'm going to Japan. I'm going to get a waifu and all this shit. They, it's just ridiculous how they try to compartmentalize everybody into these like cutesy little things. It's like everybody's like a
Mhm.
toy or some kind of muppet to them. Our culture is not your playground. Our culture is not your entertainment system. You know what I'm saying? If you want to play with
And
something, go play with your junk in your trailer park.
but it's about, like, the relatability.
Yeah.
in centers, you know? Black people immediately recognize what's going on. White people still have to reckon with a lot of the things that are happening, even if it's like subtle, like the fact that we see Sammy start in the plantation before going to the juke joint, you know? Like there are certain parts of it that are unrelatable because they weren't there. They weren't there and they still think about, oh yeah, we definitely wouldn't have been there. Why? Because we put y'all over there.
Okay, I
And
got a
it's
counterpoint because what about all the movies that were about the Holocaust or had moments centering around that, and they were like, "Oh wow, this is so sad. This is terrible. I can't believe they would put this in here. I can't believe this child would go through that." You know what I'm saying? I've seen Anne Frank. I've seen the moments in X-Men where they show Magneto in the camp. I've seen all these other movies where they got like the little kids reaching across from the fence and all this stuff, and those movies get all the awards, they get all the accolades, they get all the attention and love, and no one says I can't relate to that.
I agree with you. I still think it centers whiteness in a way because the Holocaust, the survivors of the Holocaust, even though they weren't considered white when they got to America originally, a lot of them weren't. But that scope of whiteness definitely changes how people consider things relatable or not. It like
And
even
hold on, real quick, just to clarify,
yeah.
if this ever gets clipped and blows up into a thing, I'm not anti-Jewish. I just brought that up as a comparison because we always see the opposite effect happen with things centered around the Holocaust, where when we talk about slavery or have anything centered around that or our current plight, we're always told to get over it. Just saying.
Mhm, mhm. And, you know, with that relatability, yes, there were it was a European on European tragedy, you know what I mean? Like there was more there was more relatability based off of just skin color. And even I don't know, like it to me, I think that that's where it kind of it definitely stems from. Racism literally starts there visually, but it is very interesting when we talk about relatability because it's like, yeah, no, y'all actually can't relate because y'all were the ones putting us in this
Then have
situation.
empathy.
The empathy is
Like
gone. Yeah.
have some humanity. You don't have to get I don't have to understand every single thing that happens to a woman to know that y'all go through terrible things on the
Hmm.
daily. When you go out, somebody might put some shit in your drink, you know what I'm saying? You might be with a dude
Hmm.
that's, you know what I'm saying, all these different things. You might work at a job where the boss is being sleazy. I don't have to be a woman to understand those things. I have empathy
Hmm.
for it, you know? And I feel like they somebody, I think a few people have said like white people are not human because of that, because they lack the decency to relate to human beings on just that kind of emotional level. The emotional intelligence is gone. And then when you brought up the relatability with the culture thing, it was kind of funny because when Stranger Things had the finale, spoiler alert, everybody, they had a graduation. Erica, being the
Yeah.
younger sister, showed up, you know,
Dress to the
dressed
nines.
up. Yeah. And everybody was like,
Hmm.
she's not graduating. Why is she dressed up like that? And then they try to make it a conformity gate thing. Like, nobody's sister would be dressed up like that at graduation. It's like, you never grew up in a black family. Okay, everybody come to graduation dressed up.
Also, shout out to the costume designer for that because after watching a few of her like interviews and stuff, she definitely had her finger on the pulse of like culture of the 80s, which is super, super dope. And it is very inclusive when it comes to Lucas and Erica, in terms of how they dress, in terms of what they wear, even down to the hair and everything. And I know people had like a whole lot to say about his
I ain't
hair,
give a shit
but
about the
like
hair because it wasn't that big
they
of a deal to me. People just wanted to
it
say shit.
it was so crazy because like that hairline is very accurate.
I seen
Like they were
people was posting their photos from high school and comparing it to Lucas and say, look, this is what I
yeah,
had, the
it's
same thing.
literally the most accurate of the 80s 80s high top, flat top
On top of the
like hair.
fact that he had no barber, he had no access to a barber. The nigga was
They're
was
in
barberless for 19
Indiana.
months.
They were not in Gary. They
No,
were
but in
in
the third season he
Hawkins.
did have a shape up. I'm saying because of them being in a lockdown, he didn't have access to his barber.
Also that. Like it's that, but also there was it always bothers me because people are like, "Nobody considered da 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 da," and it's like, yeah, there was a team that did consider, and so, like, they had to show videos of the black barber in the make hair and makeup chair putting on this wig for Caleb to prove that, like, yeah, we did this on purpose. That was a really frustrating time.
Yeah, I just like I didn't
But
even engage with that at all, and like yeah, it's just really tiring because we no matter what, again, no matter what we do, we could get something
Mhm.
accurate or inaccurate. There's always somebody yapping, or like the game said last night, jawing about nonsense. You just jawing too much. You flapping those gums. You just shut up. You don't know how things work. And if you don't know how
Always
things work,
crazy
try to
critic.
learn. You know what I'm saying? Everything doesn't have to center around whiteness. Everything doesn't have to center around you specifically. If you can sit there and cry when Thor lost his axe or whatever, then you can understand what's going on in Sinners. You know what I'm saying? Like you over there crying
Mhm.
because Iron Man snapped his fingers and was like, "Ugh," but you can't understand what's happening. Like it's just I'm just sick of white people. I'm sick of white consumers. I'm sick of it all. It makes me so mad. Oh yeah.
Did you just go Macho Man Randy
I'm
Savage?
feeling kind of froggy. I think I'm gonna leap. I feel like what we should do is just make sure we're protecting ourselves from
Mhm.
these ne'er do wells who want to bring us down just because we want to share our stories and show joy. Because I
Yeah.
don't think it's a problem with sharing things publicly. I want people to understand things about New York culture, Black New York culture. I want people to be able to watch something that's from Africa, like Kirikou and the Sorceress, or Iyanu, and really
Okay.
like be into just the aesthetic and want to be interested in the mythos of what's going on, right? I want people to watch something from somebody from South America and showcase Afro Caribbean, Afro Latino culture and have the
Mhm.
world embrace that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody else gets to do that. Look at Japan. You know what I'm saying? One of the biggest parts of the entertainment industry. We got PlayStation, we got Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh. All these things came from Japan, and it was fully embraced without any. Well, I mean, not without any kind of pushback, but it was fully embraced more than what we're able to do. And we're always
Yeah.
told to be in specific lanes or layers and little microcosms. And I'm saying fuck that. At this point, put it out
Yeah.
and just big each other up. Be critical, but be kind at the same time. If you feel like somebody's not up to snuff, be like, yo, have you tried this? Or here's some resources that might be able to help you. Or you can be that person that does the thing for them, like, oh, I saw that you put out videos, I can edit this for you. If you don't have the money, then we can do a skill trade or barter. You know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
just something that puts an even playing field, because they get to do that. They get to do that all the time. You always see those movies or whatever where it's like we scraped together 2 pennies and we just formed a team, and now
Oh,
we're the
yeah.
biggest conglomerate in Hollywood and we're putting out billion-dollar movies. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? The same thing with the
Yeah.
conversation with black cinema. There was a guy that put out a TikTok, which I thought was brilliant. And I'm like, wow, we need more conversations like this. He says basically he's one of those film heads. He watches all the stuff. We're talking like Scorsese, we're talking Kubrick. He's into that stuff. But he also talks about Robert Townsend, right? He talks about
Yeah.
oh my God, I can't remember his name. John Singleton, all these other great black filmmakers.
Mm.
And he says when he's in conversations with his white friends or colleagues, they never talk
Never
about
bring
that.
those people up.
They never
Mhm.
bring them up. And it's
They
like
don't even
it's
bring up Spike Lee, and
like, come on.
he's the guy.
Yeah. And it's just so crazy to me that like we're always in these little pockets. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. I got a little heated. My blood pressure probably high as hell. We're gonna go drink a smoothie or something. Um,
Right.
but Jasmine, before we go though, I think it's really important. Like we were just talking about building each other up and having community
Yeah.
and whatnot. Again, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. I don't know if this is gonna blow up or not. But as long as you're on here, and long as anybody's up here, we're always gonna promote our guests. We're gonna promote our friends, our colleagues. So what's going on with you? Because I know I'm just gonna say it outright. I'm helping Jasmine put out her site. We've been talking about it and building it up. and it's looking good and it's coming out soon. But tell us what's going on. If you got any projects coming out, where can they look for you at? Do you have a newsletter? All that stuff. Everything. Go now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Brother. Yeah. We want to
Yeah.
know.
No, I'm actually really excited. The site is looking really good. It's jasminewoods.xyz. So it's gonna have everything from my costume work on there to uh just like more of my wearable art. So you'll be able to see sort of like all of the facets of what I do. You can also catch me on Instagram at Feisty Girl Jazz. But everything that's coming down the pipeline for this year will be announced shortly. Still working the kinks out for my website, but hopefully by the end of the month we'll be up and running,
Yes, ma'am.
and we'll be able to like, oh, you got it, yeah. By the end
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
month
Sorry,
we'll
ma'am.
be up and running, and you'll be able to see like everything. And then I have a few new ideas, small projects that I'm trying to work out, and I'm gonna be just promoting more things throughout the year. I have
You want to start a YouTube channel?
no. I don't know about all that yet. I haven't considered the YouTube side of things just because even though I like talking in this sort of space, I don't like talking on camera.
But the people want to
But
know. They want to learn from you. They interested.
we're I'm trying my best. I'm trying to be better about like presenting myself on camera. But I am working on a series that's just about rebuilding and reassembling my creative practice because it's been kind of wonky. So I'm trying to work on just like documenting what I do creatively and how to like move forward from there. So if you want to join me on that journey, you can follow me on Instagram and then get the newsletter. And then I do have a Substack, but I'm not gonna give you the Substack right now. Once
I'm
it's
going to put
once
the
it's
link
up,
in the description.
well, once it's up and running, y'all see more from my Substack as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing all of that. And honestly, I'm really excited about what you got coming down the pipeline. I'm excited about who you are as an artist too. I think you have a great tenacity and work ethic that you don't really see anywhere else, just going off of the videos and our conversations. And I do think that you're going to create a nice uh, pocket of change that can possibly potentially grow into something bigger, especially since you are very focused on sustainable wearables, sustainable clothing, sustainable fashion, and that's an important conversation that we need to continue to have within our community. But Jasmine, we've been talking for mad long. This is going to be a long episode, so it's time for us to get up out of here. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate y'all. If you did watch it all the way through, let me know what your favorite Black 90s film is in the comments below. One of mine, I'll say this is something that we shouldn't have been watching, but in school, in middle school, we ended up watching all the hood movies. One of my favorites was actually what was it? Fresh with the little kids. And I think Sam Jackson was in it. That was one of my favorites growing up.
I don't think I saw Fresh. Mine was Crooklyn,
Oh,
but
that's a good one. That's a classic. Spike Lee.
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo, who's a vampire, who's actually a
Mhm.
real vampire. But anyway,
No,
before
no.
we get sued for defamation, let's get up out of here. So until next time, y'all stay true, stay you. We out. Deuces.